Included mu regime zombie. Let me say this. Into juxtaposing the two people can be a challenge, but there are similarities. There's some similarities, there's some differences. Difference ediwanti bambi teasoma. We're dealing with a man who was not educated, he's an illiterate, but a man who was trying his best. I think, yes, and I think ngabo mulaba yali power hungry, and I think Gaddafi yamusigamu ensigo eyo yoga nti tova ku ntebe.
He was his mentor.
Kubanga yali wano, I think his initial plan was that we should have elections. He wanted a transition. Nti nze mujasi ngenda kudda mu barracks nenjagala I'll give you time, you choose your leaders. I think that was his initial plan. The mistake he made, February 1972, ngagenda for a visit to Tripoli in Libya, asanga muma Gaddafi. Gaddafi was a young man. He took power, I think, in 1969. Yeah. So it was revolutionary. I know that passion, shauku ya mamlaka. He has that. He was, full of ideas and said, "Gwengo ingo revolution kati twena jolaga sigala mu kintu tulia ka kimya okole uwereze gwanga." That's I think February 1972 is where things began to change. Wanga Amini Olwaveyo, one of the first things he did, go abayindi. His rhetoric changed. Yago abayindi indikati mbade nakuchenda mukolechi mufulume nagwa n'abayisirayiri. Kubanga Vudo Gaddafi, who was close to the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, aganta onokati. So twalaba a shift. There was a shift in foreign relations into Africa closer to Libya, and then Israel was here. Israel was in the old airport. The new airport. Tegera. And they were still building Nabagoba. Mufulume. So that new airport was begun by the Israelis. It was completed, I think, by the Yugoslavians. Enago project. So Yago Israeli. Then he began changing. Shortly, a couple of years later, Nganaku a life president. So everything changed from that visit to Libya. A lot of things changing. So Amin was an illiterate man, who's I think he had a heart. Power hungry, yes. A killer, yes. But he had a side of him, Yaganti, there are things which should be for the country. Kumulembe gwa Amin, twalabanga abakakwa n'abanubbi nga beba show. Ikatinga bola abanyankole n'abachiganti kati baliwo. Yes, at that time, twaina banubbi n'abakakwa, like West Nile, they run the show. Wanga yata most of the actually soldiers in the army. Ibo yabata. I mean, like locally, Yaganti, no wazao no wakbama sati wonna. Yes, to strengthen himself in power. Kubanga yale manyinti obote avuddeko nenga his relation with the army. I mean, he had a lot of actually soldiers in the army and the Langis. So he was insecure. So to consolidate himself in power, nata walango mumaje nata abacholi. So wherever he would find, possibly linked to Obote ngabata. Now that is really, really sad. Really, really sad. But he was doing what Mr. Museveni is doing, trying to consolidate yourself in power. That's why he didn't have a problem with the killing, which we didn't see in Museveni. Initially was a bit he was a bit human to say to get a bit Nekad, I think yabivako byonna is now I think we're seeing either new Museveni or the Museveni who always wasn't got to money. So those are some of the things I'm saying. But I think mu gwanga ngalaba nti ebintu by'eggwanga n'okkulaakulana njagala nkole bwenti yoanti yateka Uganda Airlines kitegeera 1977 gwanga East African Community collapsing 1976 yenaganta kati those days twakozesanga East African Airlines kati naganta we need an airline for Uganda. Natekawo Uganda Airlines. Ingane Kenya Airways tenakola ki? Tenabanawo tenatandika. So Uganda Airlines is actually older than Kenya Airways. Nerwa kuba speed yenkula. I think we dropped the ball someplace. Netwa tuli banene nnyo. So the other thing is that so yeno moyo gwanga nga alina ebintu byaga nti ebino bya gwanga. Netulaita te Museveni I think Museveni is not a patriot. He does not have anything called patriotism. All he has is a plan for himself and his children. That is all. And then he expects the rest of us are supposed to pay for it. Chuvula nti ebisabe byonna babitutte. Lugogo yenna bamazeo. Lugogo had fields. We had 8 fields in Lugogo. Nga kids would come and play all day. From school they come and play. Like nga bana tebalina kama ngube tula enaku zino. There's a place to play. We had fields everywhere. Byonna bikoze eki. Abitunze. City Square yali agitunza ajodde omusajja balaba. Twamala kwekalakasa then he said okay. So we've seen so much going. They're about to finish it all. So Nachivuba yagenda dda. This the so-called young tycoon, who I think is this regime, what do you call them, stooges and quislings. And they call themselves businessmen. He took it over. Now that is not patriotism. That is broad daylight theft. Together, that's broad daylight robbery. So we've seen Mr. Museveni, I think, unlike Amin, who had a heart for the country, he was not very good at it, but he had the intention. For Mr. Museveni, I think he doesn't have the intention. He's not even very good at what he's doing. We're seeing the national debt has grown like a zillion times more. We're seeing public property has been sold off. Not even sold, but taken illegally by his friends. Nalaba lu Njiro Stock Farm tikati yakahindo tafiri nga konze 2 for day. Njiro Stock Farm, this is a national asset. It's a research center. It's a learning center for children. It is now in the hands of Kahindo Tafire. That is theft. That's robbery. This is public property. So tulabe nti Bible tugamba in John 10:10 nti the thief comes not but for to steal, to kill and destroy. Every time I read this verse, I see NRM. To steal, to kill, to destroy. That's what I've seen in the last 35 years under Mr. Museveni.
Mr. Museveni for the last 35 years has never been a patriot.
No. I think we're now, it is now clear, and all he ever wanted was just to stay in power for as long as he can, enrich himself at the expense of the Ugandans.
2016 voter turn up no boju comparing neya this 2021 2016 abavubuka abantu balonda nnyo okusinga ko kubalonze anatenga this time before the election day 14th okulonda lwe kwabaddewo tubadde nga tulaba nti abavubuka bajumbidde nnyo process eneyo ya elections it by involving themselves in nga tusobira anti voter turn up yinzo okweyongerako waggulu. Could we send this age bracket of 35-40 these people, I have my car, I have my home, tebalonda because this time round abavubuka balonda. What caused this low voter turn up?
First, njaga kugamba nti we need to get correct information. Batugamba nti 1,200 polling stations were cancelled.
Yes.
I don't know how many votes were there. If you count the votes, if you look at an average polling station, let's suppose it's about 300 people. Because I've seen polling stations with 300, some with 900, some with 1,000. Let's take an average of 300 to 400. Let's say 400 people at a polling station on average.
Yes.
If you multiply this by 1,200, you have close to 5 million people not considered. So we need correct information. I think all I can say is Mr. Museveni never intended for this to be any election. He knew very well the strength that Bobi had brought. He knew the chances. I was talking to some of the NRM people, and most of them were agreeing into Bobi had actually swept the country. I think there was a lot of support. Actually, even maybe more than what we saw under Dr. Besigye. I think Bobi has built onto what Dr. Besigye had done earlier. Nayongerezako. So the threat to Mr. Museveni now was much, much more than even what we had in the Besigye time. And he didn't intend for this to be an election. That's why you saw that he did everything possible to give Bobi Wine problems. The entire campaign team is in jail. They've been tortured. we're saying this, you cannot call that an election. He has been bad, he was bad from campaigning in particular places. That's not an election. It is a pretense of an election. It's an excuse of a plebiscite. You cannot say we had an election. I think we just had just a bogus exercise that was engineered to suit Mr. Museveni's interest. And to me, that is very sad for this country.
After Mr. Museveni being announced as the next president, 2021-2026, yavayo nayogerako eri eggwanga. But in his speech, nagamba Abaganda okulonda Abaganda, it is sectarianism. Could you please comment about that?
In 2016, in Mr. Museveni's district of Kirura, all the votes were for Mr. Museveni. Everybody voted, including those who had died, even those who were sick. So all the votes in Kirura were given to Mr. Museveni. And now, nowhere in the world have we had a situation where everybody turns up for an election. It's impossible. Because people die, people move, people get inconvenienced. If we wanted to know that not just kulonda kwolo. It is difficult to say, humanly speaking, you have a situation where everybody has voted and each of them has voted for the same person. There is no spoiled vote. There is no nothing. I have all the 100% Museveni. Now that is theft. They can call it anything. I said that is theft. And we want to call this for what it is. That is theft. That is treason. And I think the president, for me, all I'm seeing all through this is he has been committing treason in his capacity as president, and only that we can't do anything because he has the gun, so we're like, oh, fine. But let us call it what it is. This is treason. This is abuse of power. This is denigrating the dignity of the Ugandan citizenry. This is gamba tatubaze mu magezi nga bana Uganda. Nensi yaffe tagibaze mu magezi at all. You'd think for me, if someone belongs to this country, maybe he will not behave like that. If someone belongs to the country and he has a heart for the country, maybe they will not do that. What we are saying is that Ugandans right now are, humanly speaking, powerless because this man has the guns and he has made it clear he will shoot if anybody causes trouble. He said he will crush. So that is okay. But we are seeing Uganda at its worst, even worse than where we were in Idi Amin's regime. I'm saying you ask the question of Baganda being sectarian, and I'm saying if the Banyankole vote 100% for Mr. Museveni, it is okay. If the Baganda vote like 6 or 7% for Bobi, it is sectarian. I mean, who is he fooling? I think the president needs to draw a line. When you're talking to your cows and when you're talking to the people, those are two different things. I think he has not yet learned to draw a line between those two. He thinks he's talking to his cows. We're not his cows. We're not his children. We're fellow citizens and we deserve the respect that citizens deserve. I think we are seeing Uganda at its very worst. Sometimes you think you've hit the bottom of the barrel and it seems there's still room to to continue sinking, and it seems they're still sinking further. And as a Christian, all I can say is may God help us. But we are saying, so for Museveni, when something doesn't suit him, then it is sectarian, it is primitive, it is bad. When they vote him, then, oh, they're riding me, they see what we've done for them. When they vote against him, they're ungrateful. And for me, his speech was supposed to be a victory speech. Now, where in the world do you see a victory speech or an acceptance speech like that one? Because he came to quarrel, basically. Alikuwa anagombana, anatukana watu, kati chechiganye. I mean, obo sinza kalukale osinze jangu osmailingeko otuwa kaseko seko ogenti bane webaza abantu bane munonze mumpadde obuyinza kubanga ofunye about 50%. Yes. So you're the president. It's okay to we think, okay, for us we not obie or you've or cause ebitaliyo, but it's okay, you've been declared, so it's okay. We're not going to kill you, we're going to fight you. It's okay. So at least you be happy. Tell us what you're going to do. Don't come here quarreling at Baganda. The Baganda have a right to vote whoever they want. The Banyakola have the right to vote whoever they want. They actually have the right to vote whoever they want. I think the issue is, in politics, in democracy, it's about, come to me, ask for my votes, tell me why you want my vote. If I'm convinced, I'll buy in, and I'll vote you. If I don't buy in, then you have to work hard for my buy-in. So I think he should agree that I think this time people are simply tired.
When we refer to the Bible, in our Gambia, and tell bukulembeze butaveri katonda. So should we send obukulembeze obwa President Museveni na obuveri katonda, because ye mukogera ko yagamba nti waliwo bingi nnyo byatannaba kumaliriza mu myaka 35 gyamaze mu bukulembeze, bingi byatannaba kumaliriza, ate era alaba talinawo successor, talinawo omuntu anamuddira mbigere nga avuddewo, because balaba bonna tebali capable. Yes, tebali capable kola biki byakoze.
Okay, then asigaleko afuge for another 200 years. Wana. Afuge for another 200 years or 300 years. If he has now, let him stay on for 300 years. We shall accept. But let me also tell you, the Bible talks about, there are two different things. If you look at theology closely, when we talk about obukulembeze bwa Katonda, there are two things God does. There are things He ordains. Inti kivuddemu ye nacho ordaininga. Like if you look at Jeremiah 1:5, yagamba nti, before you were conceived in your mother's womb, I knew you. I ordained you a prophet unto the nations. Now that's what we call the perfect will of God. Inti, it's okay. This is achiyiza yenga ye achiyiza atudde wansi n'achiyiya n'achiteeka wali. That's the perfect will of God. There's what we call the permissive will of God, where God allows. Tekivuddemu ye nakikola ki nakikiriza naga nti kakiyitewo. For example, Samuel was heading Israel as God's representative, nga yabagamba kino nakyo nga yabakulembera. People came and said, twagala kabaka ng'ensi endala. Naga nti nedda, my will for you is that I'll be your king. As your God, I'll be your God and your king. And that you'll be a peculiar nation. Temujja kuba nga nsi ndala, mwe mujja kuba banjawulo nnyo kuziri ensi endala. Ekiri eri, it doesn't mean because it's there, it also has to be here. Yes. You are different. You are a different nation, a royal priesthood, a chosen nation. Those are the words that the Lord uses. A peculiar people, a royal priesthood, a chosen nation. You're supposed to be different. Twagala kabaka ng'abalala. For us, we're tired of this whole arrangement. Now, so he told Samuel, Totia, do what they've asked, because they have not rejected you. It is me that they have rejected. Now, that's what we call the permissive will of God. So what do I do? Because God does not force people. God does not force people. That's why Revelation 3:20 again, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hears my voice and opens the door, I will enter. I will eat with him and he with me. God is a gentleman. Akuba kodi. Yet he can actually kick the door open and walk in. He can even pass through the wall and get inside. Now, once people reject his perfect will, then let me just leave it. He allows it to happen, not because that's what he wants. So we need to be careful when looking at that wasn't into obukulembeze bwa Katonda. There are things he ordains, then there are things he just allows. Now, when you ordain something, there is a way it works out. If somebody is stealing votes to win an election, that's not God's perfect will. God cannot ordain things like that. If somebody is killing people to win an election, no. If somebody is locking up his opponents to win an election, no. If you're jailing campaign agents to win an election, no. There's a big difference. So in my view, in my humble view, I think these are things that God has allowed. Now, he has his reasons for allowing. We may not agree with him, by the way. I don't think I agree with God on this matter. I think we've been here too long. But he is God, so we submit. Okay. Wanga akiriza ikali. We're not going out to the streets to shoot Museveni. No. We're not going to begin fighting him, get guns, killed. No, we shall not go to war. But we shall continue mobilizing. We shall continue speaking out against what he's doing. We shall continue preaching what is right. And say, mubye, that is wrong. Musabantu, that is wrong. You're destroying, that is wrong. You're taking public property, that is wrong. We shall continue saying that. Until that time when God is pleased to give us a change, we shall become.
Yeah, what is the question, Lilian? On 13th, around 4 p.m., abantu abamu batandika okusalibwako internet. Nze I didn't even realize nagenda I didn't have data. So nagenda otekako data saawa emu nga siriiko.
It's not even 4 p.m. Abamu baali batandise ddo bajjako
previously. Nze I identified it on Wednesday because we work online, and on Wednesday we worked perfectly. Though network yali ekwata but we were online and our show went on well. So ku 13th saawa ez'olweggulo 7:08 awo ne batandika okuggyako abantu internet. Could you please comment on this in regards to human rights and economic perspective?
Now that you mention it, I think that I've been listening to the Human Rights Commission chairperson. I think it's Dr. Is it Katebalira or something like that?
Yes.
And let me say, I was very disappointed. Yes, and that internet shutdown was okay.
Yeah, I heard him perfectly.
Now, for me, I think Ugandans, those who are listening to us, if the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission can speak like that, then you know that what we've been telling you all along is correct, that we have no Human Rights Commission, number one. Number two, if it's there, it is useless, and we would actually be much better off without it, because we would not be spending money on it. Would also not be pretending that we have something, so our hopes will not be raised unnecessarily. It's a very big tragedy. Chikwasa nnyo ennaku kintu gamba kyabu kirito ennyike ku mutima omukulembeze wa Human Rights Commission bw'ava naga nti okulonda kubadde okay, internet shutdown yali okay. Noga nti kati mmwe bano babajjangawo oba. I really wonder what kind of people we have in these places.
Could we say they're compromised?
You know, we're having a country where so much has gone wrong. And let me say the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission is not worthy to hold that position. If I were him, I would resign. You can't talk like that and still stay chairperson. I don't think I'll ever... The day I met him, I'll tell him exactly what I'm saying now. That what you said was wrong. You don't deserve to be in the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission because you don't understand human rights. You don't understand anything about human rights. My village chairman my village also chairman down in Wudaka could handle the Human Rights Commission better than this man is doing it. My 16-year-old boy can handle this Human Rights Commission better than this man is handling it. Any of you here would do a far better job than he is doing. I mean, it's that bad. Actually, if we had no chairperson of the Human Rights Commission, we would even be much better off because he's a complete waste of public funds. It is illegal for a president and unconstitutional for him to use his office to unleash orders that affect the electoral process to his advantage. It is illegal and unconstitutional and even treasonous for a president to cause a whole country to be in a blackout because he wants to win an election. There is nothing in national interest that Mr. Museveni was doing about shutting down the internet. He was simply trying to sway the tide to his advantage, and which even makes me ask, why do we even bother with elections? Maybe it would have been much better if Mr. Museveni says, like Idi Amin. You see, with Amin, we knew there was no parliament, so we didn't even have to waste public funds on a parliament because there was no parliament. He was the parliament. He was the cabinet. He was the judiciary. So we didn't have to waste time. I mean, we saved a lot of money by fully declaring himself life president And the dictator, he didn't pretend to be a Democrat. He said, no, I'm the life president, so be quiet. You speak up, we shall sort you out. So we saved more money in Amin's regime by a full-blown declaration of the dictatorship. Full-blown declaration that I'm life president. We saved a lot of money. We didn't have to waste time in elections. People going to parliament. We didn't waste time all that. People went to work. Our fathers went and did their jobs. The kids went to school, and we waited. So the country saved money. Here we've lost trillions because we're pretending to have an electoral process. Yes, an election. We're pretending to run a democracy with a parliament and a judiciary. I mean, a lot of the things, the judiciary has been so knocked down that every time there's a political case, you know they can only make one decision. In my humble view, the Supreme Court the other year, was it 2018, when they ruled on the on the age limit petition, the Supreme Court should never have allowed Mr. Museveni to run again. That was a bad mistake. On one hand, you might not blame them. Maybe they thought they would be killed or something like that. But for me, anybody who fears moments like those shouldn't have become a judge in the first place. Yeah, don't become a judge if you're not willing to stand the heat and pressure that comes with being a judge. The Englishmen say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. The Bagwere say, if you fear blood, don't go to the abattoir. Of course, there's blood everywhere, so please don't go to the abattoir. So I think these judges should have known, if you fear moments like those, don't become a judge. Don't take oath to administer justice or to dispense justice. I think that was bad. That was Uganda at its worst. And see what has happened. If the Supreme Court had been man enough, I'm using that word carefully, if they had been man enough and stood their ground and said, no, this is unconstitutional, maybe we would not have had all this chaos. We would have been having another person running for president, because the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court. Once they make a decision, that is it. The only thing Museveni would have done is declare a coup. Then that would have even been better, because then we know who exactly he is. Because don't pretend to be a sheep when you're actually just clothing yourself in wool. Yes, be what you are, be who you are, be yourself, and we shall appreciate it. Mr. Amin, Idi Amin, history will judge him a bit kindly because he was straightforward. He said, I'm life president. There'll be no elections, there'll be no parliament. So please do your work, eat and go home and be quiet. We saved money.
Do you believe we do not need a parliament? Is parliament doing its work anyway?
It's exactly the same question. And I think I like the first question better. If we still have Museveni as president, we don't need a parliament.
Why?
One, it's very expensive. We're spending trillions every year on parliament for no work done. It is cheaper. It would be cheaper for Mr. Museveni sit in his bedroom, order laws to be drafted, and you'll have exactly the same effect as when there's a parliament. So we save money. Those who are in parliament can also get other things to do. They can go into the private sector, do other. You can engage yourself usefully in other ways. I think if Museveni is still president, we don't need a parliament. It's too expensive. Yet we always know that they will always do one thing. And those who try to resist, we also know what happened to Namboze during the time during the Toji Kwatako era. Yes, you send an army to raid parliament, beat up the MPs, and still call yourself a president. And then you also still have Miss Rebecca Kadaga, who calls herself a speaker, when you were part of the conspiracy to have the legislature beaten up. To me, we don't need a parliament as long as Museveni is president. When he goes, then as a country, maybe we can sit down and say, now let us now do things the proper way. But for now, no.
On that very issue, whether we need a parliament or not, looking at the MPs that have been elected, specifically here in Central, abasinga bana batote baina experience, they do not know anything about legislation. How different is this parliament going to be from the previous parliament that we've had?
if you look at the parliament since 96, the active MPs have been about 50. It doesn't matter how many parliament has been growing in number.
Here's the latest news.
But the active MPs have been about 50. So the rest have been really just moving along. Most of them dodge parliament. Others go there and sleep. Others go there and just watch the action. They play no part whatsoever.
So it is going to be a copy and paste.
Not exactly. I think that
From
2 or 3
Reuters
things.
US at 5:01 p.m. today.
There are 2 things or 3 things one can say, and that is, first, since we have a parliament anyway, let's first of all go with it.
Yes.
Let's go with it. I mean, that's what we have. We don't have a choice now. The parliament is there. Let us go with that. The active members of parliament, like I said, have always been very few. So I don't think there will be any drastic effect if you're saying quality of debate going down. I don't think that will happen. But secondly, I also think that there are many young people who have gone in. I think they have passion. I think they are very brilliant. I have seen some interesting characters. One of them is my very good friend, Mohamed Segrinya. I've known Segrinya for about 12 years now. 12. When I was a talk show host on Impact Radio, he would call in every morning and would say, in the MP to B, there was the Chivando, Campi North constituency. And at that time, I'm sure people thought he was joking. I think when people thought, with just. And there were also other young people in Segrinya's brackets who would also do the same in trying here and there. Nay, for them, they have not been as consistent as Segrinya. The thing about Segrinya is that he has been there from that time. He has been determined, and he has been there for the people. In 2011, he first went for councillor.
Yes.
And I think he succeeded.
He did.
And when he was councillor, he had that passion. Omuswahili achita shauku, like
He had the energy.
like the energy, the drive, ngekirwa kyetaddemu kimulimu na kimuva wano ku mutima. Yes, but he was very strategic. I think ali patient. Tea papa. Yesu kana bera councillor. When he was a councillor, nageza kubera speaker of KCCA, and he didn't go very far. And when Bobi Wine came up, he stood by Bobi Wine. Yali ku FDC. Nga akolagana nnyo ne Besigye ne Lord Mayor ku DP. So he was FDC, was DP, then general opposition, but very consistent, and he would identify with particular people. Besigye, Gundi, Lord Mayor, and various other people. When Bobi came up, he went with Bobi, and he was very consistent. Very consistent. Iranga kutava kumulamwa. And people saw that. And I was very happy for him when I saw him standing. I was like, okay, I think. And
Living is a dream.
yes, and I told everyone, I said, nobody's going to beat Segrinya. Because I knew what he had done. I said, this boy, they're not going to beat him. Latif, I think after 20 years, people get tired. Yeah. And when people like Segrinya come up and they are nope, and they're what? I say, let's go with this young man. So I knew he was going to win. Now, I trust that he's going to do a good job in Parliament. His education may be a bit limited, but his passion makes up for the gap. So there are many Segrinyas in this Parliament. I know young men like Joel Senyonyi. Joel worked under me at UBC. I was news editor at UBC. He came one morning and said, I want to read news. That was 2006, I think February 2006. I can't forget that time. He came with Susan Namasaba, the late. Okay, I want to read news. Looked at them. I said, come with me. I talked to Bale Francis. I said, try out these young people and see. Bale sat down with these young people. There were actually others, but I think 2 of them emerged as the best. Joel and Susan Namasaba. And I remember what Bale Francis said. He said, this boy, he's okay. That one, 3 times said, he's okay. He'll be fine. Don't worry about him. And Bale, he wasn't someone who praised people so easily. So I knew that Joel was a bright young man. The time he left UBC, I think he went and stood for MP youth at national level. How many votes did he get?
1.
1 vote, which I think was his vote. You get the point?
Definitely.
So nobody voted Joel at that time. I think that was like 2011. No, I think around 2016, I think. Now, I was pained because I knew Joel. I knew what he is.
You know his capacity.
I knew his capacity. Bright, he's a very bright. And by the way, he's a good boy. Mubantu bonna bendabye, Joel is a good boy. He's just a good boy. Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of boy you want your daughter to bring home and say, this is the guy I'm going to marry. Fantastic guy. Handsome, educated, but also the person I know a heart like that of David. So I was pained for him at that time because I knew who he was. But when his time came, I think he has really shown, he has really shown. One of the brightest stars of this whole electoral process has been Joel Senyonyi, alongside Bobi. I think we've seen. So I can trust you. I can guarantee you, Joel's going to do a good job in Parliament. And there are many, many others that we've seen who have come out. I've seen, and these guys of Noop. Let me tell you about Noop. Noop, the NRM call them hooligans.
True.
They call them a wave.
Yes, and for me the issue was that when you label somebody a hooligan, it means
They work to prove you they are not.
no. First of all, it means tobabaze magezi. You think they're hopeless characters? They're rubbish. They have no contribution they can make to this country, and anybody who sees them cannot vote them. I think that is what you would understand from a hooligan. Until these are just rubbish. They're just whatever.
They're just wasting time.
Yes, and I'm glad they have proved excellence in politics is not the monopoly of those in power. Another person can rise up, sell their agenda, and get a buy-in from the voters. And that's what we've seen in this campaign. That Bobi gets up from nowhere, and look, he has outperformed so many people. And you might debate the figures at national level, but you can't debate the figures at parliamentary level, because I saw votes. I was partly monitoring the election, partly doing rapid response as a lawyer, but you could see the passion on the ground. People were talking umbrella. Everybody said umbrella, umbrella, umbrella.
What about umbrella taking?
Yes. Even before that, I was in Budaka, in Bikobere, where I come from. And for the first time, even more than they did for Besigye, people were saying, if it's not Bobi, we're not voting. There was that passion. Even the calls I got in at counting, people calling from Budaka were saying, Bobi's winning here. But Bikobere have never done that. They supported Besigye, but not to the extent of not to the level they've supported Bobi. So we've seen that the hooligans, the people they call the hooligans, actually won the hearts of the people. In places, even places where they thought impossible. In Busoga, this boy was sweeping. Even with all this, the intimidation, the rigging, the whatever. Yes, and remember what Sejusa told us, General Sejusa. He said, if an incumbent president gets 50-something, he lost the election. Sejusa yetugamba, not me, not anybody. Sejusa, who as we all know, is a historical. He has worked in Museveni. He has headed the intelligence agencies. If the incumbent gets 50-something, that is what he told us. 2006, Besigye won this thing. So if Sejusa said that then, and we're saying 50-something again, you know what happened.
Those are not my words. I will not even say.
Those are my words.
58% something. 58.65. 58.7. He won. We are going into a short break where we'll be right back. You are watching the Might Drive Playlist of Watukomao.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Abanya-Uganda bagenzi banje ombwire obu obwo kuronda karuru nitubashaba okukoma obusinge omu maka n'omu bicweka byaitu n'obujunanizibwa bwaitu okumaraho obutabanguko omu maka nitubijusya okwetanta ekirwe kya COVID-19 obwe nimukuratira okuhaburwa kwa Ministry y'ebyamagara. Obutumwa obu nibukwihikibwaho Uganda Women Parliamentary Association UWOPA na UN Women n'obushagi kuruga omu EU Spotlight Initiative.
Where there is a lot of violence, for example, police brutality. A lot of you are being beaten up, the voters, the people from the opposing side. So election is just that period where we get free money.
An election is a process through which people choose to vote a person or a group of people to hold an office of leadership.
Did you know that you have the power to determine on who leads you?
Did you know that your vote has the power to change your society and the country at large?
Dear citizens, please vote wisely. Don't vote money, but vote issues.
Dear parents, I can't make any decision.
Your choice determines my future.
Fellow students, exercise your right. Go and vote.
Abafumbira mwese muzaze tugende tutera karuru.
Abanya-Uganda mwena mugende mutera karuru.
Bashange face yihule kucha hodole.
Abantu nyana mujje tugende tukome.
Genda oronde.
Your vote.
My vote.
Our vote is our present and our future.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Dig Talk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugende mu maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
Uganda is born again.
Mubirabye. Mubiwulidde.
And you will see what NRM means. We are going to crush those criminals.
Mubyenyigiddemu.
We are simply peacefully telling our people, say no to rigged elections.
Ebimu mubitegeera.
Naffe tusobola okutiisatiisa abo abatiisatiisa.
Oba oli awo ng'abamu mugwamu bigwe. Byabaffe byava ku ki?
Era kyova olaba baatukolera ne constitution esinga obusiru mu nsi yonna.
Bino n'ebirala birindirire buli lwa Sande okuva ku ssaawa 11 okutuuka ku ssaawa 1 ey'akawungeezi n'eyaliko Katikkiro wa Buganda Oweekitiibwa Dani Muliika ku program Eriiso ly'Omukulu ku Facebook page The Alternative Uganda.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As
we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel, and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702 900076 or 0783 047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
Fellow Ugandans, during this period when the country is living amid this COVID-19 pandemic, we preach peace among family members and community, end gender-based violence. Stay safe from COVID-19 during election campaigns by following the Ministry of Health guidelines. This message is brought to you by Uganda Women Parliamentary Association, UOPA, and UN Women with funding from EU Spotlight Initiative.
Then you complain that there's no medicine in the hospitals and the schools are doing badly. So we need to educate the people at that level. Don't ask for more constituencies. Don't ask for small municipality. That's stupid. That's primitive. You think because you're a municipality now, you're going to what? You're going to get a bigger house? You get...
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Abanyayuganda bagenda
kulikirayo nnyo ddala mu kuwummulamu okwo kwe tubaddemu. Omugenyi waffe tubadde tulina okuba nga tumuwaako ku mazzi. Essaawa namba gye tumazeeko ebadde mpanvu nnyo, so abadde alina okuwummulamu ate era nkukulisaayo nnyo gwakyatwekuumiddeko munnange kulikirayo ddala mu bulango bwe tubadde mu kuwummulamu okwo kwe tubaddemu. Tukyagenda maaso ne Mighty Drive, amannya nkyali Omumbejja Luwedde Lilian wamu ne Farida Bikobere gwe tukoze naye. Tugenda kuba tukutwala paka ssaawa 3 ez'okumakya n'omugenyi waffe gwe tulina mu studios, Counsel Gawaya Tegulle. Twogera ku nsonga ya kalulu nga bwe kaali ka president, bamemba wa parliament, lord mayor nakana wakolina ku luno olwaleero. So ke tuli mu kwogerako atukuba ttooki mu biki ebyaliwo mu kiseera ekyo paka olwaleero we tutuuse. Counsel, when we talk about the previous elections, his mission is to organize conduct a free and fair election. So did it manage to achieve its mission this time round?
Article 62 of the Constitution is very clear. The Commission, the Electoral Commission shall be independent, not subject to the control of any person or authority. Constitution kigenero kyayo kiri nti Commission enokubeera nga yeefuga, yeetwala, ate nga yeetengedde bulungi, teri agiragira ekyokukola. I think mazima gali nti bwebeera bwetyo Mr. Museveni aba tajja kuwangula kalulu. Tulabye for the last many years nti anything mateeka ekibeerawo nga kijja kulemesa Mr. Museveni basooka ne bakinyeenyaamuko ne bakikwatamuko mu ngeri yaabwe. Tulina obuzibu nti president walwako nnyo. But the people have never looked at this way. Nti one of the reasons for changing presidents often is that it protects institutions in the country. If you have the same president appointing judges for 40 years, they will never be independent. If you have the same president who handles the army and the police and whatever, they'll never be independent or efficient. It means that everybody is at the whims of one person. And that is why bw'ogamba nti Museveni asigaleko oba olwanyisa you're looking for institutional psychosis in the sense of ebitongole bigenda kulwala, judiciary egenda kulwala, parliament egenda kulwala, ne ministries, departments and agencies zigenda kulwala zonna. The bodies like electoral commission, like the director of public prosecution, like those centers of engagement where public service is dispensed, zigenda kulwala ate zife n'okufa. Bw'abanga luddeko zirwala, bw'abanga luddeko nnyo zifa. Now that is why it's important from time to time to not choose some kulembes. It's very, very important. It's healthy for the nation. It's very, very healthy. So Wobanti, the same president, yetako Akabwai. Remember Mulabana Bato. Nenga Besori Akabwai was the person who chaired the Interim Electoral Commission. 1994, actually I think 1993. 1993 and then Navako ne batandika gondi Aziz Kasujja Navako ne baleta onani Engineer Badru Chigundu avuddeko balese Byabakama. The same person is appointing everybody, including like chairperson, then the commissioners, and then the secretary, and then Abakola under them. They first have to get clearance from him before they are appointed. Ochitegera. Appointed directly, Nenga Chenkana, in effect, he appoints them because if they don't approve you to Akwamulimu. That's a big problem. It means that the commission cannot be independent as long as Museveni is president. It's impossible. I can say the commission is not independent. And Museveni cannot allow it to be independent. Now, the sad thing about this, we've seen very good people. Aziz Kasujja far, but he was a good man. I knew Aziz Kasujja. He was a good man. I know Engineer Badru Chigundu very well. He's a good man. He's a wonderful soul. He's a sweet gentleman, I'm telling you. Aziz is fantastic. As a person, he's okay. If you look at Byabakama is a wonderful guy. Musajja mulokole nnyo. Is this principled guy who, like Bible bichi nekati. The sad thing, I really feel for Byabakama. He's a good man who was pinned into a position where he has to do the wrong things.
When they appoint you to Swagana, Nogamba Bakulonze, Nogamba Nedda president, Neyanziza Okuntekamu Obwesige, but I cannot take that position to protect your HT Wachongomuntu.
There's two things about this. I don't know what relationship he has with Mr. Museveni. There might be something between them. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm looking at, because I've appeared as a lawyer under Byabakama as a judge. You could see he's a good guy. You explain a case. If there's anything to do with abuse of human rights, Byabakama would react quickly. If there was anything where something really wrong has been occasioned, Byabakama would not sleep. He would say, come. I appeared before Byabakama during Christmas period. Can you believe that? 27th of December, I was appearing before Byabakama about 6 years ago in Masindi. 27th of when other judges are in Christmas, Byabakama, I went to court, I found Byabakama. I explained the situation, he gave me an order immediately. I went to, I think we're going to, is it Bulisa? Wherever, those Chivale, those ends. We set our person free. They refused to set him free in spite of the court order. I went back to the judge. He said, come. He said, no, actually, I called him. He said, come. I was in Mbale. I drove again to Masindi. We're now just after New Year. This is a judge who has not gone home for Christmas. After New Year, he's still around. Not many judges can do that. Only people who are really called to be judges can do that. He's a wonderful person. He's a good man. I know Mtima Gwabantu. Now, when I see him placed in a position like that, I feel for him. I suspect they're making him do things that he doesn't believe in. That one I know, because I've tested Byabakama as a judge, so I think I know how he thinks. There are many things he doesn't believe in. So I think his faith has been really compromised. I think his conscience is maybe bleeding. I think I might be wrong, but I think from what I've seen, the way he has handled cases that I brought before him, I think he's a very good man in a bad position, being forced to do the wrong things, actually the wrongest possible things a human could ever do. Until you are doing things, no, it will take it. Let's just do it. If we don't, there's going to be trouble.
During elections, during the voting day, illegal detentions, arrests, Gwenga lawyer, do you still think you have free space to practice your omulimu gwonga lawyer? Mucha ina space eyo nti free ngati baba kutte because buli lawyer avayo kati sawe no mulimu gwe mukola kujjayo bali bebasibye kujjayo bali bebasibye tewakyali this freedom of speech tewakyali ne tulaba nti ne ba authors nabo babasiba for writing has become criminal here. The Kakwezas can testify. They have tested Chireka and they know what is there for just getting a pen and a paper and write. When you write about the regime and you are not praising, that is criminal. As a lawyer, do you still believe you have your space to practice your profession?
We still have a bit of space left. I'll tell you what, many years ago when I was, more than 20 years ago, I was in driving school, 25 years ago, I think. I was twali tuva Kawempe, nga ku police station now, twali tuisa Kawempe Mbogo, ne tuyingira main, twagenda kujoininga main ako Kawempe police, tukirira towards Waise, ne tusanga chitraka chiveeri. I was the one driving under instruction. Kati, nentya, when you were chirulenga chinene, you are still learning. Otia, it's a natural thing. I think instructor Nelabanti in Tidde, he told me one thing that I will never forget the rest of my life. Auntie, don't look at the lorry. Tunulira ku gap jakulekedde. Focus on that gap, woboyita. When he said that, it had a very beautiful effect on me because it calmed my nerves. I was panicking, then I settled down. I focused on the gap, and there was actually a gap. Because sometimes if you focus on the problem, you even run into the truck. Yes. And I can tell you, I've been on the road, I've driven for more than 20 years. Many of the accidents we have on the road are because people focus on the truck, not on the gap. So I tend to go papa. Focus on the gap, Joina. Just concentrate on what you need to do in those, because there are moments where you find one no, anything can happen. Just calm down, focused. Abali motoka bayinza kubanga bakuba endulu. Bechi tugenda kufa. Don't listen to them. Focus. Look at the truck, look at the gap beside it, then see how can I get into that gap. That instruction has saved my life many times on the road.
Kato, did you hear? Kabade kalozo kolna ku our driver. So tuloza anti owulidde.
So Kati, right now we have a choice as lawyers, as citizens, to focus on the problem that is Museveni.
Or focus on the gap.
Or focus on the gap between Okozesa. I think I prefer to focus on the gap. I think Mr. Museveni will not stay around in power for much longer. I think ebintu byakola kiraga nti if you see somebody becoming more aggressive, it usually means he has lost reason. He cannot reason. He cannot respond to you with reason. He cannot respond with force. Together, we shall shoot you, we shall kill you, we shall crush you. He can no longer argue. He can no longer debate. He has run out of ideas. It means the space for him has narrowed and he's on his way out. That's why he's now resorting, deploy military on election day. That's why some people didn't even come out for it. You see Majeku Street and you want to go there? No. That's a no. You're not going there. So he has resorted to brute force to enforce compliance.
In fact, that is where I was going to come in the session of politics.
Yes, but first hold on to that. So Kat, what he forgets is that as a leader, when we're teaching management, there are two C's we talk about. There is compliance, which dictators focus on. The Democrats focus on commitment. You want people to do things. Okay, let's suppose you are a manager in this media station. You have workers under you. You want them to do things that they're supposed to do them. We shall ask you, what are you looking for? Are you looking for compliance with everything? Or you want people who are committed? And I might come 5 minutes late, but I'm going to do the job. But there are those who will come, you say, reporting time is 8 o'clock. 8 on the dot webali. Nti why bajja kungoba sikachi selector vizibu 8 on the dot webali. I have nowhere to go. So you have a team of people who are with you because they have no choice. They're doing what you want as you want it. So they are complying. So you have compliance. But if you bother to interrogate the issues deeper, you'll discover there is no commitment at all. Because Lwakwanti, they have a job. People are losing jobs. Companies are laying off workers. Let me keep my job. Never every day at 6 o'clock. I make sure even if I'm walking, I walk to town. By 8 on the dot, in 2 years, in 2 years, but I'm at office at 8 o'clock. Ndinabizo byange bango bene munju landula padde 1 week okuvayo naye I can't even tell you because ojja kungoba. So I'm just here. So I'll come, I be at the camera, I'll take all the shots properly. Angles onanga bozagala. Nenga I'm not happy. I'm not in the world just like that. So yes, I'm stressed. Ndi nebizo byange nechaye ndi muko, but I have nothing else to do. So I think Mr. Museveni should know that because of the forces using, he's getting compliance from Ugandans. There is no commitment. I can guarantee you that one.
Even among the army and police?
There is no commitment. Let me tell you, there is people talk of things. At first I thought, Mr. Muhoozi, Mutabani wa President Dako, amajego naga gamwagadde nnyo, ebichi gakkiriza, abantu bonna mu NRM kyebalubirira and everything. So one time, about 3 months ago, I think I wrote an article on the Monitor. I was arguing that it would not be a good idea for Mr. Muhoozi to be president of this country, Muhoozi Kainerugaba.
Why?
No, I was arguing. I was telling. I think my argument was that okusinza kubyenda bye. It's really the way he has behaved during the Bobi Wine. He trying to pull down Bobi Wine. Oh, yeah. Manyi for abakadde tuga nti circumstances do not make a man. They only reveal what he's made of. Okitegeera embeera bw'ejja yonna tekufuula kikyoli. Embeera etulaga ki ejjayo kikyoli. So I looked at the tweets. Actually, that article yava ku BBC. I had not BBC. Dokivela. I had the Swahili service of Dokivela came and interviewed me on that subject. Nambuza ati naye Muhoozi byayogera. What is the problem?
At one point, I thought maybe someone is catfishing you.
No. Yes. Auntie, that's what I said. Okusoka, I thought someone was hacking into his account. Just omuvumya mu bantu. Just omuleterinye B. That was my initial impression. That's why even my wife asked me, because that's not Muhoozi. I don't think he would say such stupid things. That's what I told my wife. So until Dokivela called me, you mean these things are actually serious? You mean this is Muhoozi? Then I said, okay, from what I've seen, I don't think he's a wise person. I don't think he has the wisdom required of a leader. Because you don't talk like that. Many the things you don't say. Kubanga ng'omukulembeze oyakubumba ku bintu. You want to gather. Don't want to scatter. You want to gather. You want to work with this one, that one. You want to work with people. Yes. You want to, if somebody is the other side is opposing you, you want to say, okay, what is he saying? Let us engage him. Is there anything we can agree on? Or what point is he raising? Are we wrong somewhere? Where are we going wrong? Can we sit on one meza tuogere? Omukulembeze bw'ati wakola. Omukulembeze ogamba kalabe gako wechi. You don't do that. So I told Dokivela, I said, I don't think Mr. Muhoozi has wisdom because amala googera without considering what is coming ahead. That's what Chenabagamba. Now, when I wrote an article basing on that, and they go, you cannot believe the number of people who reached out to me from NRM, from the army. They said, thank you for that article. I said, what? I could not believe it. I said, wait a moment. You mean? So I was like, even this one, even that one. I was like, this is interesting. So I then discovered I think there is no consensus. Like, many people are trying to, everybody, there's no consensus on the Muhoozi question. I think many people don't think Muhoozi should be next president. I think there are many other people within them who also want to be what? President. And they don't think Muhoozi Kainerugaba has earned the right to be president. And you cannot be president just because you're Museveni's son. They say, no. Even the issue of Museveni overstaying in power, sometimes you think, Amaje, they agree with it. Wow. Because as journalists, you talk to people here and there, and these are people in the army. I'm like, what? So I think,
if they are really tired of him.
No, for me, I don't think it would be wise. I think, for me, I think it would be a good thing for us to vote Mr. Museveni out.
Do you believe vote yes will Mr. Museveni?
You see, it is the one weapon we have. I think we can be able to mobilize people to vote in a way that he has no choice, not even rigging, can do anything. There is the time Bobi Wine won his election as MP. That time, I think NRM tried whatever they could, but it was simply too much. It was overwhelming. But they can't hear it this time. It didn't. Why? I think that was because he came back, and I feel sorry for him, but yes. But I think we need to mobilize to that level until the vote is so overwhelming until not even the cheating can overturn it. So I think that the way I see Mr. Museveni talking now, he sees into gap a war is narrowing. His chances are narrowing all the time. That is why he's responding with force. We're responding with the military, with that. If he was confident until he's okay, najja kumpewo n'avuma Baganda n'abalangira kabaka. I thought that was not proper. The city Muganda, but I have a lot of respect for the Sabasajja. I have a lot of respect for the history of the Buganda kingdom. I think is maybe the one kingdom which has history, the most organized kingdom we had in the East African region. This was the most organized. I think I want to respect Buganda. I want to respect the Sabasajja. I want to respect the Baganda, Bonga Baganda. That's why it's got ekitiwa cha Buganda. Chavada. Ochitegeera. I think I want to respect for that. I give it up for them. I said, guys, you're special. I really, whatever. Now, if you go on the air and begin talking to Buganda like that, I think it means you're losing it. So even Mr. Museveni knows that so he knows he's going. That's why he's reacting the way he's reacting. Victor speech teba bwetyo. Mutajo asanyu sena gati mwandabye, mwampolidde, ne wait buje olidde, moddangayo. That's what people say. Nega nojja noyoma ngomukozi w'okumuzigo. I think waliwo obuzibu. I think leaders don't talk like that. They don't behave like that. So I think there is hope for the country at a certain time we shall mobilize peacefully to vote Mr. Museveni out. People should not think about killing the president. No, don't do that. Don't become like him. Don't lower yourself to the extent of saying we should shoot him. That is lowering yourself to his level. That should not happen. Don't say enough to jam then enough to obey. That's lowering yourself to Mr. Museveni's level. I think the people of Uganda should raise the level of debate, the level of thinking, and think democracy. Think long term. Think what will hold our country together for many years to come. If we keep on having people who come to power through the military, and then they stay in power through the military, and then they want to beat up everybody because they are in power, this country will not last long. We've seen Congo. My heart bleeds for Congo because I've been to Congo. I see the wealth in Congo. I see the poverty of the people in Congo. The country is rich. The nation is poor.
What is the problem?
Again, governance. When you get the governance factor wrong,
you want to mean you are insinuating that is where we are headed?
Yes. If we do not resolve or call a chintu which works for everyone, into Nzengomugwere, Wendy, and you guys are okay with it. Olimusoga woli, and it's okay. Onomuganda wali, it's okay. Nomujaluwa ze, it's okay. Nomujonama ze, Omuchola ze, it's okay. And we are all, our children are all okay, going, yes, they are used to living harmoniously, they're going to school, will you mind a chance, will you mind a. I mean, if people don't want to have a society that works for everybody, we're going to perish. Martin Luther King said, we either choose to live together as brothers or we perish together as fools. If we begin reasoning and take bana Baganda, bana Wanyankole, bana Bagwere, we're going to die like fools. I think we should define ourselves as Ugandans and respect our diversity. In Toka Baganda, this is how they think. Our Silamu football, that's how they think. Our local board, this is how they are. Our Karochi board, this is how they are. You see? And we appreciate each other. If we don't do that, we're finished.
You mean obutegatta like opposition yonga yobutegatta kufuuka muntu omu kyekibaletedde okubeera nga balemererwa okujjako Gen. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni because twali suubidde nti balyegase ku mulundi guno ne basindika candidate omu n'abakiikirira nga opposition.
No, I don't think that can sometimes work, yes, but not all the time. Because even this time, you see eriyo opposition figures okolachi oganti FDC, DP, UPC, NOP, bichi bulimata deo anti bulimata deo candidate. Now, you see every party at some point wants to grow, wants to go on the record. In that election, we participated. It's a sign of growth for the party. It's a sign of institutional development. It means we've made a milestone. We are maturing. We are mature enough to present a presidential candidate. How they perform is not really important at that level because the young parties, NUP mpya tuk, aand mpya tuk, DP nkadde but you see the years of rot because of the the political turmoil in the country. You know, they have not allowed DP to grow as it should have grown. So these others, Gatinga, who else? FDC is still new. It's about 15 years old now. Yes, they're about 16 now. Those are still new parties together. So you want to go on the record and saying we had a candidate in that election. If you present your case to well-wishers, you say, but we are growing as a party. We had 20 parliamentary candidates. We had one presidential candidate. We had councillors at this and that level. That is growth. So you have to. We had. I think there was a debate on how do we balance the interests of the party, the individual parties, in Twagala Kula, against the broader interests of the nation. In Twagala Mukulembeza Kolechi, Aveko to Funomupia. I think that it was really a tough debate. So even then, I think Abalonzi Bo, they knew. Again, okay, Twina Mugisha Muntu, yes, Twina Mao, yes, Twina Amuriati, yes, yes, but Katumba, yes, but I think this election was about how many people? Two people. The Abalonzi Bali Bachimanyi. In my area, I have a strong FDC presence in my area in Bugwere. But almost everyone there voted NUP. Together. Yiteng Bali Muchi, FDC, Mbamanyi, these are my Balons, Mbamanyi. They say, no, this time we voted NUP. Because they saw the potential. Our chance, our hope for removing Mr. Museveni, I think right now, lies is in NUP and Bobi. Yes. So they said, I think let us go with Kyagulanyi on this case. Because, not because we love our parties less, not because we love FDC less, but because we love Uganda more. So people voted two people. It was either Museveni or Kyagulanyi. So that's why all the other percentages were really insignificant. Okay, this is Muntu is my son, I want to vote him. Mao is my brother. Okay, come we akarunea funeko. Oh, Mao, I think I like Mao. Atatira ogera kwa Mao ntende. Kaza is a come away. Yes, that was all that thing. Not because they don't like Mao. Because all these guys are good guys. Mao, by the way, Mubantu Wanabe, all the presidential candidates, I don't think any of them is better than Mao. In terms of intelligence, I don't think anybody is better than Mao. Because I went to school with Mao. I know what he is. I know. You know, or your money akabya your neighbor. Mao, when it came to literature, Mao ya kole ebintu, and this guy said, but we can't give someone 100%. You see, that was now the issue. How can we give somebody 100%? Yes, it said, but you know, Mao is at another level intellectually. But you see, in politics, being intellectual is not enough. Yes. Like if it's in terms of just intellect, I think Mao beats all of them. But this time round, I think people had their issues, and the wave that Bobi brought, he had his own appeal. See, people are not voting because I need a degree settle or a lawyer. They were saying, I think the way he's handling matters, the way he has appealed to the masses, we think he's the best chance for removing Museveni. They gave him en masse.
So should we say nti eyo wave eyo yaletedde ba minister bano okuba nti babajjemu mu kalulu?
Again, that's what we're saying. Wherever NUP was strong, wherever they were strong, it was impossible for the NRM MPs to win. Because you could see, like I said, on election day I was in Mukomansimbi, Sembabule, and Masaka. And when I went to tally center in Mukomansimbi, we were doing the tallying. Then they would read, this polling station, like Mirembe, Gondi afunye bwati, Bobi afunye bwati, Museveni chenda, nakanti, but Abujewa. Because people would look at it, but wait a minute, where could Museveni get 90 votes at that polling station? That's impossible. Tejisoboka. There must be a problem there. Because they were saying, for us, everybody has given what? Bobi Wine. What was that you could say, You'd hear people saying, how? Abujewa, Chikumi. Yes, Auntie, but you see what I'm saying is that because people know, like you can sense that they're feeling the atmosphere, Auntie. So people are saying, Abujewa, Chikumi? Really? No. Because it will because Bobi would get like 350, 400. Them 70, 90 or 40. If he goes 100 and beyond, people get up and say, no, that's impossible. So that shows you, people knew, right now we want Museveni off. I think the main agenda really was change of power. So people were voting for change of power. Others were voting for Museveni to stay. So those who wanted Museveni to stay voted Museveni. Those who wanted him to go voted Kyagulanyi. Now the residual votes were really other factors: sympathy, blood relations, and courtesy, and what have you. But so Ekyokwegatta, it didn't really matter because for people knew what they wanted. So it didn't really matter until later Muriat stepped. Even if Muriat had stepped down, I don't think there would have been much difference together. Yeah, because still his contribution was not that significant. I think really the vote was between two people, and the population knew this is really about change of power or not.
Still on the elections, Zakagwa, tulabanga number of registered voters yali waggulu yalennyako compared to last time. But then number y'abantu aba showing up okulonda yakendeera. Should we send the electoral commission teyakola mulimu gwayo okusensitizing abantu okugenda okulonda? And another question is about the invalid votes. Because last time we had 477,100 and something votes, invalid votes. But this time round tulaba nti bwakenderamu, of which we were not expecting any invalid votes this time round. So should we send the electoral commission teyakola kimala kusensitizing abantu ku nsonga ya kulonda?
I think the commission has many problems, and I think there's a general failure in terms of educating people, the issue of voter education, because there is civic education and there is voter education. Now, civic education is a general thing that many bodies in the country, even the government itself, has a duty to do civic education. Political parties have got a duty to do civic education, and civil society have got to do that duty. So civic education is broad. Voter education is really a bit more specific. It is about what to do on voting day. It's about how to understand the electoral process. And I think that one really belongs to the Electoral Commission. Now, they can delegate that power, like by outsourcing partners, like get civil society especially, to say, can you work with us in this area and that area, Gundi Agenda, Ajumani, Gundi Agenda Moroto. It is possible to do that. I don't think they've done a good job of it. Even to Babikola very late. There are things, I was saying, look at election observers. I mean, I was supposed to be an observer. Even 2 weeks to the election, I had not received my accreditation. 2 weeks to the election. 1 week to the election, I was still calling it one day. Ngasifuna Gundi Yange, where is it? To me, that tells you the commission, I think, has failed in those aspects of voter education, of managing the process properly. But two issues will come up. One, is it intentional? Or is it that they're working in a difficult environment? Or is it that they are, or maybe the third thing, incompetent? I don't think the commission per se is incompetent. No. I think the people that work in the commission are highly educated. They are proven people who know what they're doing. But so I think reason number 3, I cut it out. I think they're competent, so it can't have been incompetence. Which leaves me with 2 reasons. Number 1, the circumstances in which they work are fairly difficult. Money, our systems here work work a bit hazily. Monies come late. People want to do things the last minute. Generally, that's common with Uganda. We're not as efficient as the Germans. I've worked with the Germans before. I've been to Germany lots of times. And one thing I say about the Germans is that if they're going to have a meeting in April, by end of January, preparations are complete. Everything is complete. Everything. If it's 6 months away, they tell you we're running out of time. Ugandans will call you 1 week to an event and say, hey, are you available on this day? We have a meeting on this day. Like, what?
Last minute.
Yes, last minute stuff. Now, you can't run an electoral process like that. So a lot of things were being done last minute because of our general cultural environment. The cultural context is that we're last minute people. We do things at the last minute. But also, which brings to reason number 1, was it intentional? I think yes. I think the government intentionally ensures they intentionally delay these things just to make sure that there is some kind of chaos. And once there is chaos, only one person can benefit, the ruling party.
Is it the same reason as to why the international election observers were not called in the country?
Because actually, they're always called. But then they came, when they came, said, Mulima Maker? Like for the Americans, says, you said you how many? No, we just have, we're just going to give 15. And the Americans had almost 100 people. Said, we shall give you just 15, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Now, you've spent money coming to Uganda. People have traveled. Yes. They're in hotels. They've come to do work. Telling you, no, Kati, I think we can only at this time, Mulija tusonyiwa naye bambi. Tekisobose, tukizaganye, you just, you get do this 15, this 15 you can the rest, we're sorry. Now, that's deliberate because you don't want people to observe. You make sure that nothing is going right because for you as government, all your things are already arranged. You know what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. So for me, this is intentional mediocrity, intentional delays, intentional incompetence, intentional this and that to make sure that government benefits. And once things are not running well, then the opposition work for them. They're outside the brackets. They run around, they panic, they're trying to do this, they're not organized. Then you can't prepare for your election very well. I think that's how the government wants it.
Well, Counsel Gawaya Tegulle, please send in your questions. I'll read 1 or 2 when I get time. If I don't get time, please, we shall be replying your questions right on the page. And Counsel tatufunye budde kuddamu bibuzo byammwe. On the 16th day of January around 4 p.m., 527 MPs had been confirmed for the next 5 years. Before we look at how big our parliament is going to be, let us look at the quality of debate that we're going to have in parliament.
No, I think the fact that we have a large number of new people coming in, it means there is a lot of energy coming in. NUP is characterized by young people. Sure. I think we've always been saying that, hey, you're the leaders of tomorrow. I think if ever there was a time we could say that, I think it is now. I think now the leaders have appeared. I think mubawe gap bakolechi wainokola. So I think this is a very good thing. The fact that NUP has a good number, and the fact that they are going to be leading the opposition, I think it will be very significant. So I expect very passionate debate. And I'm talking as a human being, but we don't know what tomorrow holds. Because we're here talking, we don't even know whether there'll be tomorrow. But I think on the face of things, from what I've seen, I think there is hope that we shall have very good debate because NUP is energetic. You have passionate young people. You have guys like Abdallah Chiwanuka, who was, if you remember Abdallah is a lawyer and he's the one who threw out Chibule. Honorable Ronald Chibule, I think.
Yes, Ronald Chibule.
Yes, who we thought would never go away. Yes.
Why did you think so?
No, Chibule is, I think he has been very entrenched. He has been spending a lot to keep himself in power. And he has been enjoying himself as a minister. I think he was, I noticed, I think it was over his car that had a siren. And I was like, wait a moment, Prime Minister moves without a siren, but a Minister of State is moving with a siren. I was really intrigued. I think it was his car. I might be mistaken, but I think it was his car. I was like, whoa. I was like, hey, wait a moment. This is a state minister. And he has a siren. When Waziri Mukuu, the Prime Minister, is moving quietly. What kind of thing is that? If you look at even his senior minister, I think was also moving quietly. But the Minister of State is having a siren. I thought that was interesting. But I was happy for him as well. Let him enjoy himself. He has worked to be there. Let him enjoy himself. But I thought he has worked hard to stay there. So it was difficult seeing him leave power. And I think he's also close to the inner circle. Yes. You know, politics in these primitive countries, a lot doesn't depend on what rank you have, but what office you hold, what rank you have, but how close you are to the powers that be. And I think he's very close to the center circle. Okay, if you like, to the center of the circle. So I thought he would never go away. But Abdallah threw him out, fair and square. And Abdallah is a very passionate guy. He's very good as a lawyer. He's very energetic. So you have guys like Joel, Abdallah, you have my good friend Segirinya, you have very many other young people. I think we're going to have a good debate. NUP may not have as many people as NRM in terms of parliamentary numbers, but for me, I think they are energetic enough to make even more noise than the NRMs. And they don't have the disadvantage. You see, NRM has a problem that they have one brain that thinks for them. And then they keep quiet until they're told what to say. Yeah. And then they're not allowed to say anything or think anything unless
someone has.
Yes, unless they say, go on, this is what. Hey, okay. That's why someone said into, even if somebody is sleeping in Parliament, you bring him. Hey, don't mind. As long as he wakes up and vote. Yes. So that's all I need. So NRM has that encumbrance, which NUP doesn't have. So they'll be energetic. I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of fire in that Parliament. And they're not going to wear red for nothing. I think we're going to see a kind of Julius Malema effect in this Parliament. If you follow South African politics, the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF of South Africa. So you see that ANC still has the numbers, but EFF has the energy, and they're gaining ground. And I think if anybody's looking at the future of South Africa, I don't think they'll be looking at ANC. I think they might be looking more at EFF because they have the energy, and I think there's a lot of similarities between Julius Malema and Bobi Wine. Yes, there's a lot that you can look at, and I think they're friends. I think from what I've seen, I think they're friends. So I think we're going to see the Julius Malema effect in this Parliament, and it won't be dull. You can be sure these young people are going to give them a run for their money.
How big would you wish our Parliament should be?
I think it would be a good idea to sober up as a country, because you see, if you look at Parliament, you should draw a balance between the need for effective representation, that you have constituencies where people can easily access their MP. Because as an MP, you're actually speaking for the people. You are representing the people. Yes. It means you have to be close enough to them. Now, if the constituency is too big, then the desire to have meaningful representation might not be very, very, it will not be possible, because there's so many people, MP, so you want maybe to have them like a reasonable size. But again, if you break up every small thing into a constituency, then you're increasing the size of government. So you are going to have, in theory, people can access their MP easily, but the country is paying so much money because you have a huge parliament. Now, the size of government is very, very significant in small countries. If the country is small, the government should not be too big, because it means that you're going to spend a lot of money which could have gone to other things. We still have to treat cancer people outside the country. If you reduce parliament by half and said, I want to make sure that nobody ever has to go to India for treatment for cancer, I'm going to put something in Gulu, in Arua, in Moroto, in Soroti, in Mbale, Jinja, in Luero, in Mbarara. I'm going to put something in Masindi, in Hoima, in Kabale, in Fort Porto, Kasese. I'm putting centers where people can access specialized treatment at the highest level possible in the world. And say, I want people just, if you're sick, you don't have to get straight. Air ticket, or whatever. You say, no, we have treatment here. That would be a very good thing because we're spending a lot of money on parliament, which can go into social services. So the size of parliament, I think, needs to be rethought very clearly. Big government doesn't help poor countries, especially when they're small like this one. You're poor, you're small, then you are constantly increasing the size of government without increasing the revenue base. So our preoccupation should not be with increasing the size of government, but increasing the revenue base. Making sure there is, because you see, when you increase the size of government, it means you're making the cake, you're cutting the cake into smaller pieces. Yes. When you focus on revenue, increase of revenue, you're focusing on making the cake bigger. So there'll be more for everybody. You get the point? Yes. Now, Mr. Museveni thinks, for him his magic bullet, we shall give you a county here, we shall give you a municipality, we shall give you. He's increasing the size of government, so you're cutting the cake into smaller pieces. The size of the cake is remaining the same. Actually, it's even getting smaller because we are increasing the size of our budget, but 70% is donor funded. You cannot run a country where the majority of the monies come from donors and then think that is sustainable. And you're increasing the size of government. It means tumanyi na kuyo oba tuina magezi kubibiri ebyo, because you increase the size of government. You're making the cake into smaller bringing it into smaller pieces. So now but the cake is being the smallest, is staying the same size or getting smaller. That's not wisdom. So I think that's something we need to work on as a country, and people have to be sensitized into Okuba district is not it should not be a good thing, but we district which on at village level, grassroots level, that thinking might earn you votes. Hey, in Mbarara district, I talked to the president. Yeah. But you see, you cannot run a country like that. That is not how nations are developed. We need to benchmark at a higher standard and say, how are other countries developing? How are they doing it? Look at American. Have you ever heard into Congress has expanded to how many whatevers? That Congress has been like that for the last I don't know how many years. You get the point, eh? Yes. For that's how many years, it's just like that. Even when you go to the state level, because each state is a little country, because it's a federal government, it's a federal system. So each state has, and they always try to make sure that you kind of keep a constant, because the taxpayer pays more every time you increase the size of government. So I think we need to think again. People need to be told it's not a good thing when you get another district or another constituency. You're actually losing money in the long run. So schools are poor, but you're forgetting that you yourselves are, but we're district, but we're constituency, but you yourselves are actually destroying your own future by asking for a bigger government. Then you complain that there's no medicine in the hospitals and the schools are doing badly. So we need to educate the people at that level. Don't ask for more constituencies. Don't ask for small municipality. That's stupid. That's primitive. You think because you're a municipality now, you're going to what? You're going to get a bigger house? You're going to get a bigger salary? I mean,
get jobs.
From where? If you get jobs from government, it's very dangerous because it means the size of the cake is getting what? Smaller. What people should look at is expanding the private sector. Because there it means you have more, your revenue base as a country is expanding because the money is coming from the private sector, you're feeding government. But here people are expanding the size of government, so they are sending as name of government, they're siphoning it to feed the private sector. You cannot run a country like that sustainably. Yes.
Counsel, mukwogera kwa mukulembeze w'eggwanga kuno kwakaggwanga bakamala omulangirira nti awangudde. Yagamba nti tagenda kuddamu kukkiriza ababaka ba parliament kwegabira ssente nga ekinyumo nti okay zino kino weekiri tufuneko ssente bwe ziti because nzijukira ku bukadde abiri mu biseera bya covid-19 nti ababaka abamu bagamba nti zino ssente ze batuwadde baali badde batwongerako na bwongezo of which n'emisaala gyaffe baali badde bagyongeza.
You know, some things I had to say. Mr. Museveni is old and tired. I don't think we should be listening to him too much or taking him too seriously. There are things he says and does which to me are just a sign of a man who is tired. Let me tell you, at his age, Mr. Museveni should be hosting his grandchildren, just relaxing. He's just in the same age bracket as my father. My father is happily relaxing in his village. He's looking at his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, which he, as an old man. If you're trying to put the burdens of an entire country on the shoulders, on the brain of an old man who is 77 this year, or even more, depending on who you believe, I don't think you're being fair to him. I think you're being hard on him. For me, I don't expect much from Museveni because akuze. And the way life is patterned is that especially after 45, let me say, because at 40 you become wise, you as a man, you know this, you know that, you know people, you are enterprising, you're mature. Then that curve will maybe keep going on up about 60. After 60, things begin changing. Even your body tells you, I'm no longer what I used to be. The curve starts dropping. If somebody is 77, for me, I want to have pity on Mr. Museveni, sympathize with him. I want us to assist him manage his old age, assist him manage his himself at this time. Kubanga, if we leave everything to Mr. Museveni, we're going to kill that man early enough. Because, you know, he's a human being. He's not a superhuman. He's a human being like you and I. 77, you're carrying the problems of an entire country without systems. You see, there are countries like Biden Simuto, Joe Biden or Biden, depending on what school you went to. Trump Simuto. But you see, America is America. They have systems and structures where all you need to do is come to the controls and touch this here, so you press this here, and there's a system that tells you what to do. And Mr. President, in this case, this is what you do. In this situation, this is what you do. But Museveni is not like that. He's the one who knows everything. He's the one who's go collaborate. In America, they tell the president what to do. You get the point? So if you go there as an old man, you're still safe because you have a system that works. And people are advising you on how to do. For them, advice is actually advice. Their advice means you are actually instructing the president. You together, but you politely package it as what? Advice. You're an advisor on this matter. So we advise that this. We recommend. Actually, what you're saying is we direct Mr. President to do ABC. Now, that's how America works. For Uganda, it's the other way around, that the president knows everything, so he's telling everyone to do everything that they should do. You can't do that forever. He'll break down at some point. I can guarantee you that. Because he's an old man, he's tired. Even if mwangalia sasa hivi, akoye. So let us handle him with care. He's now a great-grandfather. We handle him with care. Let us not be too hard on him. Let us tell him what wrongs he's doing. Let us make recommendations. Let us love him as he is. Let us help him where we can. Whenever we get a gap to help him, but let us focus on building Uganda without Museveni because he won't be there much longer.
Maybe to take you a little back to the number of MPs, just I want to be more specific in terms of figures. How many MPs should we have in Parliament?
No, I can't do figures right now. But I'm saying that there should be what is reasonable. I think there are many constituencies which are too small, which were just divided for the fun of it because of politics, what they call gerrymandering. That is, you're simply redrawing boundaries of constituencies to gain political advantage, or to give advantage to some political players. I think we should redraw our boundaries to have more meaningful districts. And the district should be a particular size. Okay, if this is a district. If somebody says I'm LC5, then you respect him. Say, this one, Maziba Wanfu. because he's really LC5. So many districts really, I think we need to have, first of all, amalgamation of districts. Some of them just reconstitute them into one district. 1, 2, 3 there. Tuzigatte tufune mu districts ezetegeera. Yes, like 50 districts in Uganda should be enough. 50, that's enough. Or if you write like 50, 55, those are enough. So that you know we have 55 L5 chairpersons. We have 55 members of parliament who are women. Inside them, the constituencies have reasonable sized constituencies. If we have 527 now, I don't think this parliament should be more than 250. I don't think.
Now that akalulu kawedde mukolo justice byabakama yalangiridde President Museveni as our next president for the next 5 years, and you believe akalulu yakabba, what next? Do Ugandans still have an option, or they should wait for the 5 years to elapse?
Let me go on the record as saying, one, we had no election. What we had, that's not an election. That's not how elections are done. This is the worst election we have ever seen in this country. And may God help us not have this kind of thing again. I pray that God hears our prayers on this matter. This is not something we should joke around with. This is not how elections should be conducted. It's a bad example to our children. We are sowing the wrong seeds in their minds. Wajja kulanga manyi nti wobanga oli president okuba banno bonna n'obasiba, then you take power. Yes, I think we're showing a bad example. This is treason of the highest degree. This is abuse of power. And I would like to go on the record saying, shame on you, Mr. Museveni, from the bottom of my heart. Secondly, I should like to hope that people understand that when you rig an electoral process, there are two things. One, you rig the process itself, and then you rig the ballots as well. Yes. So you rig the process by making it impossible for other people to campaign, to get access to the population, to gain any kind of advantage. Then you rig the ballots by, the usual things they do, stuffing, whatevering, invalidating this and that, like we saw in Zimbabwe, like I said, where I was, where we had the voters. The votes were more than the voters in any polling station. That tells you this was really one big joke. So it is wrong for us to, even for the NRM, to take pride and say, we won the election. You did not win any election, because there really was no election, because all you do was fool around, do this, beat everybody, kill, and then you think, jail people, and then you think that you've won a vote. So I think that we should rethink, we should go into a time of reflection and say, how do we rebuild ourselves as a country from now on? There are many people in jail, unbelievable. And their crime is they oppose Museveni. That is wrong. That is wrong. Even Amin would think twice about doing such a thing. Amin did all he did, but there are things where he would there are things we didn't see. So I hope that as a country, we shall pick ourselves up and say, let us build a new Uganda where the system works for everyone.
In 1 minute, your last remarks.
I would like to say that as for now, Mr. Museveni is the president. Let us not go out to fight him and say you want to riot, you want to beat up people. That's not wisdom. As a country, let us submit in as far as we can and be able to work so that the country is able to run. Let us use this time to mobilize people, to sensitize them, to educate them, and galvanize public opinion towards a change of the president so that we can have a new president at the earliest possible opportunity.
Thank you, Counsel Gawaya Tegulle. Do not focus on the problem, focus on the gap. Kabade kalozo kalunaku. Farida Bikobere is my name. Koze no Omumbejja Luwedde Lilian. Omwami mukose Arnold Anthony yabade mu control room. Teddy Tenjo Nabukera yabade ku kamera y'olunaku lwaleero ate Kato tumusime yatuvuze okuba nti ate tumaliriza program nga tuli balamu ate nga talina gwakosezza. Tukwebaza okuba nti munnange amateeka g'ekkubo gatambuza bulungi nnyo wane tetusukawo obudde bwatugobye dda naye ate twagala okubeetondera nti comments zammwe tetuzisomye olwakadde naye ate tugenda kuba mujja kuba mufuna replies abamu questions zammwe admin wa page yaffe agenda kubanga ate abaddamu ate okubajjukizaako akensuso nti enkya Tuesday tulina omulangira Nakibinge Kekimbugwe mu studios ng'ate ayogerako nammwe so tubakubiriza mubeereko akadde kabake kamu ssaawa ebeeremu ey'okumakya paka ssaawa 3 mbeere bulungi bannange tugende tulonde we are going to vote nga bwe tuva wano ssaawa eno so tubakubiriza mugende mulonde tetusukaawo mubeere bulungi.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
This is a time where there is a lot of violence. For example, police brutality. A lot of you are being beaten up, the voters, the people from the opposing side. So election is just that period where we get free money.
An election is a process through which people choose to vote a person or a group of people to hold an office of leadership.
Did you know that you have the power to determine on who leads you? Did you know that your vote has the power to change your society and the country at large?
Dear citizens, please vote wisely. Don't vote money, but vote issues.
Dear parents, I can't make any decision.
Your choice determines my future.
Fellow students, exercise your right. Go and vote.
Abafumbira mwese muzaze tugende tutera karuru.
Abanyayuganda mwena mugende mutera karuru.
Bashange face face yihule kuche hudole.
Abantu nyana mujje tugende tukome.
Genda olonde.
Your vote.
My vote. Our vote is our present and our future.
Bannayuganda bannange, mu kaseera kano ng'eggwanga liri mu kusoomozebwa kw'ekirwadde ki COVID-19, tubakubiriza okukuuma emirembe mu bitundu gye mubeera n'okukomya obutabanguko mu maka. Mwewale okukwatibwa ekirwadde ki COVID-19 nga mugoberera okulungamizibwa kwa Minisitule y'ebyobulamu naddala mu kaseera kano ak'okunoonya obululu. Obubaka buno bukutuusibwako Uganda Women Parliamentary Association UWOPA ne UN Women ne buteekebwamu ensimbi aba EU Spotlight Initiative.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Dig Talk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugende mu maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, short, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel, and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702 900076 or 0783 047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.